for any questions. Just raise your hand. Do we have a mic? We'll get you a mic. Identify yourself. Ask Helen a question. Anyone?
Helen, could you just talk about your emotions up there on the podium? Just watching on TV, looked like you were very emotional, and just what that moment meant to you.
Sure, yeah. I've been dreaming about standing up on that podium, singing the national anthem. I can't even tell you for how many years. And so, you know, I've won some big international competitions, and I won Worlds last year. And I remember standing on top of the podium at Worlds last year, and I was so proud. It was my first time winning a world championship, and it was in, you know, it was in Las Vegas. It was in my home country, and all my, you know, family got to be there. But I just remember thinking, like, I can't soak it in because this isn't the Olympics yet, and I'm like 1 year away. Just, I don't know. And so this time, I'm just an emotional person, anyways. But to actually just to reach my dream and my goal, and then to get to hear the national anthem, and I can't even put it into words. It was such an honor, and I was just emotional. I'm like so proud to be an American. My family's going crazy. They're all in USA stuff, and I don't know. Like I said, I mean, how could you not cry when the anthem's playing?
Congratulations, Helen. Vahe Gregorian, Kansas City Star. Part of your joy had to be over the adversary you beat, and I suppose from maybe others besides you, it was thought to be an upset. I just wondered about the mentality going into something like that, and if that was part of your joy in beating the best.
Definitely. I've been studying Yoshida for at least 4 years now, and then when I met my coach Valentin Kalika, we really started studying her for the past 2. So I just knew I always wanted a gold medal, and now I knew that there was just going to be this person that was in the way of that. I knew that I would at some point have to fight this person in order to get a gold medal. So, but it's just such an honor to wrestle her as well. I mean, she's so accomplished. The last time I wrestled her was in 2012, and I got pinned, you know, in the second period. And I just have a lot of respect for someone that is, you know, willing to take that risk and come back for a fourth, and to step on the mat and to dedicate their life to this sport. And it just, I don't know, I've been envisioning it in my mind for so many years that it's just crazy that it became a reality. Sorry, I'm at a loss for words.
Hi, to dropping from 55 kilograms to 53 to wrestle.
Yeah, dropping a weight class was the hardest thing. That was the hardest thing for me, or one of the hardest things that I've ever done. You know, when they changed the weights, I just thought, this isn't ideal for me, and how am I gonna, you know, change my body to get down there? And like I said, you're wrestling 2 to 4, 6 hours a day, whatever. But you know, then you can check out or you can relax or whatever. But the diet was 24/7, and it took all of my mental energy and my emotional energy. I mean, you know, my parents stayed home with me on Christmas Day, and I didn't eat anything. I just had chicken and spinach. And friends and family, they want to cook for you, they want to invite you over for holidays, or I just really had to just give up a social life pretty much, because everything revolves around food, and I just couldn't have it, or I didn't want to be tempted by it. And it was like, okay, finish your meal, and then it's 2 hours before your next meal. So, okay, what do I do for 2 hours until I get another couple bites of chicken again? And that just for me was it was really hard. And I'm not saying it's like the hardest thing ever. There's some people, you know, I can like look on Instagram, there's, you know, fitness people that can just whatever, hammer it out, just do this diet perfectly to the T. But for me, I knew that this was going to be the challenging thing. I mean, you can put me in a wrestling room all day and I'll work my butt off, you know, I won't quit. But with the diet, it was so hard. And I'm not even saying hard like I wanted to eat Skittles instead of, you know, a salad. I mean, I already eat really healthy, but to measure out 3 ounces of chicken every 2 to 3 hours, and just psychologically, I'm like, okay, I'm glad I got fed, but I only get 3 ounces of chicken and a handful of spinach, and you know, some of the, like the next 2 or 3 hours. And that, I think God really just taught me how to also stop feeling sorry for myself, because it got to the point where it was just really draining. And so he just said, you got to change your mindset, look at it as a blessing, be happy that you even have a nutritionist, because I don't think I could have made weight without one, or I wouldn't have done it the correct way. I don't think I could have performed the way that I did. So, it was the hardest thing, but it taught me a lot, and I'm really grateful for it.
Mind in those 3 hours after your semifinal, you're getting ready to meet somebody you've been working towards for a number of years, and how do you stay within yourself and not lose the moment?
Yeah, that's a good question. I've been wrestling since I was 7, and I would say my weakness has always been a lack of confidence, and just maybe not very strong mentally as far as putting tournaments together. And so things would have affected me before. You know, for example, okay, you should have slept before the finals. You didn't sleep. Oh no, now you're going to be tired and you're not going to win. And just over the past couple of years, I just finally kind of had to forgive myself for a lot of things and just say, you know what? Let's just see what happens. Okay, you can't sleep because you're really nervous or you're excited. Well, don't count yourself out. Go see if you can win first. And then I would go and win, and I'm like, oh, okay, like, this is fine. So a lot of it goes off the field. I laid down. I wanted to nap. I just couldn't. I was just so excited. And then I was thinking, oh no, normally I'm like really intense, and I gotta get my game plan, and I gotta talk to coach. And then I was like, I went up to my coach, and I was just like, Valentina, I'm just so happy. Like, I can't wait to wrestle. And I think God just gave me a peace that was really beyond human understanding, because I don't know where it came from, but I was just really at peace today.
Means, and if you wouldn't mind reflecting on how you started in the sport and sort of what you were up against in the early days.
Definitely. I started wrestling when I was 7 years old. My little brother had just joined, and my mom brought me along to the practices, just to sit and watch. We didn't have a babysitter, and one day there just weren't enough kids, and my mom didn't want to, make my brother quit. So she just told me to take my shoes off and jump in there. And after about 2 weeks of just sprints and push-ups and everything, I went to my parents and I said, this isn't fair. I'm doing what all the boys are doing. I'm doing all the hard work, but they get to compete and I don't. So my dad, he's always joking with me. He goes, okay, I'll let you wrestle one match, and if you win this match, I'll let you continue. And that was the only match I won all year. I was like 1 in 30, which is funny because I'm sure my dad thought I don't think my dad thought I'd ever step out on the mat, because I was the girl that was asked to quit ballet. Instructor said not to bring me back. I cried all the time. I quit diving because I was so afraid of heights. I just stood on the diving board and cried. Pretty much every sport I ever did. Gymnastics, I was afraid to do a backflip, so I just cried. So I think there's this stigma that to be a female wrestler, you already have to be tough. I'll have parents say, oh, my 4-year-old is so tough, she's going to be a great wrestler. And that's great, but I think it's also, I want girls to know that whether you feel tough or not, or confident or secure or insecure, wrestling can do wonders for your life. I mean, it's shaped me so much. And I think I'm really passionate about that because it helped keep me on track in a lot of ways. Growing up and in high school, and I was always, just because women's wrestling was still new, I was always, I had the privilege of being around the older generation, and I was at the first ever Olympic camp in 2004 as a 13-year-old. You didn't have to qualify to get into the camp, it was just open. So I'm this 13-year-old, and I'm watching all these Olympians and how dedicated they are and what they're sacrificing, and just the way they speak, the way they carry themselves in the cafeteria and training. And I think for a 13-year-old to be exposed to that, it just sets such a good example. And so I just knew, okay, if I want to get there one day, I have to be like that too. And so we've been saying that women's wrestling, we need a gold medal, and then it's just going to propel a lot of growth in the sport. And I definitely hope that's the case, just because I think it's so beneficial for girls, for anyone. Just trying to get some thoughts together in the short amount of time since it happened. I think one of the biggest assets I have is that I just have a really natural intuition, and my coach always tells me, well, the way we train is preparing for every scenario, but the way I compete, it's not. The game plan has already been worked on. I can't think about it. I can't focus on it. I can't even say, okay, I'm going to look for this. I wrestle my best when I just don't think, when I wrestle freely. And so I didn't know I didn't think, okay, am I gonna shoot on her? Should I be shooting on her? Or will she try and attack me? Or should I be more defensive? It's the way I approach every match. I'm like, okay, I know I wanna control the center, and I just have to feel what's there, what's open. And then I kind of, while I'm wrestling, I'm figuring, I think it's like chess. I'm like trying to figure my opponent out. Okay, why are they pushing on my arm? Are they waiting for me to do something? Are they baiting me? Or, just wrestling, thinking through things. So I didn't, but when she shot, and I've been to camp. I went to camp in Japan. They finally, they opened a camp to us for 2 days in 2014, and they only let 3 Americans go, and I was one of them. And I just remember thinking, this is incredible. Like, I'm finally gonna get to train, with this woman, because you really can't. They've always had closed doors. It's really hard to get into camps or anything, and I just got my butt whooped for like 3 days straight. I didn't get a single takedown. I got taken down at will, and I just remember thinking, okay, this is gonna be tough. So, but I met Valentine. He totally prepared me, and when she shot in, that defense actually isn't technically correct. They'll say, you should sprawl first, or your first line of defense is to do this, and the position I was in, I was like, I finally need to trust myself. I just need to fight this. Like, I'm just gonna go for broke here. Like, if I give up 2, okay, I can come back, but I just gotta keep fighting this. And then when they called it up, I just thought mentally, okay, I don't have to be afraid of her shots anymore. I gotta be prepared for them, but I think I put so much hype, to her, and that just kind of, I think, helped me mentally just snap and say, okay, I think I can do this. I grew up wrestling boys till I was a senior in high school, and then I moved away to the Olympic Education Center to start training with girls for the first time.
Where did Missouri Baptist fit in? I know they'd started a program, but I'm unclear on how long you were there and to what extent that was a pivotal point or not.
So I've pretty much always been willing to sacrifice whatever for wrestling, which is why I've moved around a different location for the past 7 years. And so I moved away when I was 16. I went to Northern Michigan, and then that was the year of the Olympics, and Randy Miller had just won the bronze medal, and she just accepted a coaching job at Missouri Baptist, and so she said, you should come out, develop more before going to the training center. And I thought, yeah, like, this will be great. I'm going to learn from a bronze medalist. So I moved out there for a year, and then she ended up transferring to a different job, so then I had to find a new place to go. So I was only there for a year.
Do we have any more? One more? No, we'll do one more.
1 in 30, and now you're an Olympic gold medalist. To what do you attribute it in the end? Persistence, determination, sacrifice, all the above?
This is such a tough answer. I always need to answer this that, all glory goes to God. I definitely attribute it to God. I think for me, wrestling, when I was younger, it was a means of measuring my self-worth and my value. And, you get better, and that feels good for a while, but then it gets tougher, and then you're losing, and it's hard to ride the highs and to ride the lows, and I didn't like that feeling. And once I just gave my life to Christ, and I felt like God started using wrestling as this tool to shape me as a person. And so the journey just intensified, by a million. I mean, I met Valentine and my strength coach and my nutritionist, and my parents have been so supportive throughout all of it. There have just been so many people that have helped me along the way. I mean, I'm the person that's gonna need help, gonna need encouragement, gonna need advice. Yeah, I'm gonna need a smack in the head because you're supposed to be confident. Okay, you've already drilled this 10 times, like it's enough, kind of a deal. And I felt like I always lacked that confidence, and so many people have just contributed to my career, and it's just been an amazing journey. So I really can't say it's one thing.
Athletes get like days to like recoup and stuff, and you're like towards the end of the Olympics, so the hype's like slowly ending. How did you prepare for just today, just doing it all?
Well, after I lost in 2012, when I rededicated to go for 2016, I just told God, we just had a discussion, and it was kind of like, would you go all in for this even if you got nothing out of it? you're not gonna have the promise of a gold medal, and let's say you do get it, like, what if nothing comes of it? What if it's left you broke because you're paying for coaches and trainers and living situations? And I was like, yeah, I'm all in. And so that's definitely has been challenged, with like media opportunities and everything, and I said no to everything while I was here. I didn't stay at the Village at all. After opening ceremonies, I went to Lonier, which was like the Team USA training place, and I just stared at mountains for like 2 weeks straight, so I missed all the hype. And then I thought, I love watching the Olympics. It's one of my favorite things to do, but I was like every day I'm feeling like it's my day that I'm competing because I'm so happy, for Simone that's winning or Michael Phelps. I'm like, and I was getting too hyped up, so then I had to just cut myself off. So how I prepared today, well, I feel like I was already prepared to just sacrifice whatever needed to be sacrificed, and part of that was just really stepping out and kind of zoning everyone out. And then today I just had peace about it.